Welcome. Over the Top Podcast. It's your boy HD in the building with the Over the Top Podcast crew. Let's see what we got in the building with us today. What's up, Q? What's going on with you, bro?
Oregon lost. The Eagles lost. I'm sick. This is how I feel.
Oh, baby.
Hey man. Things to get better. This dark moments at this time here to get better. Playmaker G, what's the deal, man?
Oh, I'm good, man. How you doing today?
Doing good. What's going on your way?
Just maintaining, living life, staying above the clouds.
All right, good stuff. RJ, what's going on, man?
Stay above the chemtrails.
That's what you need to stay above.
I'm telling you.
Hey, nah, man, I'm doing good, man. Want to bring a little bit of laughter at you, but man, how y'all doing this evening?
Good stuff. Everybody's well. Miss Toya, how are you?
What up, though? I'm good.
Living life, everything well your way?
It's homecoming. It's that
It
season.
is homecoming season. To everybody that's celebrating, please be safe in those streets. Be responsible, but do your thing.
They're about to cancel ours.
Wow.
I'll tell you off camera.
Okay.
Dang.
Well, hey, if you can't act right, you can't get stuff. That's that act right.
People got down there that fighting spirit down there. My coworker used to always say, "You got that fighting spirit, that lion spirit."
All right, guys. Well, that's cute. They're gonna jump right in and tell you what we got on deck.
All right, dear Toya, as we are still celebrating 50 years of hip hop, I wanted to know what you and the guys thoughts about these new female hip hop artists, especially ones like Sexy Red. Why is it for sisters to stand out, they have to use explicit lyrics and be half naked or make a sex video? Is the female hip hop culture at a loss of class, or is it just sex sells? Should we just take it as women empowerment and go with the flow? Signed, the hip hop guru.
Q, let's start with you on that one, bro.
Oh, that's easy. Y'all don't listen to them unless they do that.
Y'all. Don't say y'all.
Okay.
Don't put the old people in that.
Yeah.
Unless they do that, or unless they rap about a certain topic, y'all don't listen to them. Man, listen to a female artist, a female rapper that actually talks about what you want to listen to, and then you'll hear them on the radio, hear them get airplay, or hear them get all the deals that you want these other rappers to get. But y'all don't. So you can't complain about something you don't listen to in the first place.
All righty. Playmaker.
I kind of disagree with that. One of my favorite old school rappers is MC Lyte. And MC Lyte, she didn't do a lot of, the stuff that you're kind of hearing now, but she was just a great MC. And, she had good flow, she had good beats.
How long ago was that?
Say it again?
How long ago was that?
It's been a minute, but it doesn't mean that, what's the lady that 50 Cent brought out? I can't remember her name.
You said 50 Cent. That's almost 20 years ago.
No, he said, who's the lady that 50 Cent brought out?
I'm not.
You got rappers like Rhapsody. There are clean female rappers out here now, winning Grammys and making great music.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I think there are some talented women who can go toe to toe with any man. They just need the right production and support behind them. When I listen to the ones that my pink and brown stuff, that stuff is not appealing to me, and it's just that type of ratchetness just doesn't do anything for me. I know a lot of people buy into it, but I just don't appreciate. I don't have the same type of appreciation for that type of music versus others. So I do think that there are some women who can really rap. I think they just don't have the proper support and production, and I think that is because we as listeners don't always put the support behind them.
RJ.
You're muted.
Ron, you muted.
Yeah, I thought I hit the unmute. I'm sorry. Yeah. Try not to be too heavy real quick, but at the same time, address the question. A nation can rise no higher than this woman. So essentially, when you visually you visually appeal to these young ladies with the ratchetness and the thought process, you permeate their mind. I heard Big Gibb say the music has a spirit and it's a spell. Like when they say gospel music or God's spell. When you speak to people through music and terms, you have to understand the power and effect that comes with music and the vibe and the beat. Now, if you really reflect on it and you grasp it, there's a reason why these young ladies gravitate towards that hip hop, because it is empowering, yet at the same time it's devaluing you. It's this thought process. I'm gonna hit y'all with something that's real interesting. And I heard it in Usual Suspects. He said, "Man, God help me, Lord help me, Lord help me. How can you convince the world if you never knew the devil exists?"
That part.
So essentially, what you really are dealing with is the infiltration of hip hop and the permeation of things that do not represent the culture. And when you get the culture away from the essence of what it's about, essentially what you have done is you have corrupted that next generation, and you have steered them in a direction that you would purpose to have them go. So be mindful what you listen to, or listen to it with a collective ear and an understanding that it is entertainment.
The radio industry got these young ladies chasing the bag. And what happens is what happens is the more ratchet I can make you look, the more money they ready these production, these record companies, and the people that spinning records on the radio will play your record, which includes my money. Just like Ron said, I think music have a spell. I saw a skit or a clip reel on Facebook where the guy was at the music production. Would you play a music that when you play music that abduct children or kidnap children? Say no, I would never play that type of music. It don't make money. But yeah, but you will play music that degrades women or had to shake they hind parts or saying vulgar words or dress vulgarly or dress sexually. They'll play that loud because of the fact that's what generates money in their eyes, but it is a spell to that. But so I think a lot of artists, and I'm not sure, but I think a lot of artists falls prey to that type of music because it creates a certain lifestyle, image, and financial uh means for them. When you mention Floetry and Rhapsody, they're a little more conscious of what they speak about. So, but they're not necessarily chasing that bad. But I think there's a lot of female artists. I think a lot of artists are scared to step out on their own because of the fact they're chasing that so-called bag. So that's why I think you find that in ladies hip hop. But there's a lot of good rap artists out there that female artists out there that don't necessarily go that route. What's your thoughts, T?
So the person who sent the Ask Toya is our age, maybe 2 years older, in his 50s. So I think our problem too is that we are hip hop snobs because we are the generation of hip hop. And we came up, like G said, with MC Light, Queen Latifah, and Lauryn Hill, and Roxanne Shante, and Salt and Pepper. Even Salt and Pepper wasn't, they got sexy, but they was never half naked. And they still rapped about things that were going on in a time, even when we did talk about sex, about protection during the AIDS epidemic. So we are the product of certain type of women hip hop artists. We are not our generation is not the generation of the Cardi B's and the Meg Thee Stallions. And I ain't never heard a Sexy Red song. Only reason I know is because I heard that she had a porn tape and something pink. Literally, looking at her makes me want to throw up. There is nothing sexy about her. I'm sorry. That it just isn't. She ain't even, I don't like the word.
I mean, okay,
She's a handsome woman. Let's put it like that.
okay.
So it's hard for us to understand sometimes, but it's also sad for us to look at what the culture is coming to. And it's not just on the woman's side, it's on the man's side too. It's hip hop in general. But you do still have artists out there doing good work and making a bag and not half naked. It's a lot of, like, if you watch the Queen Latifah episode of Females in Hip Hop on Netflix, you got a lot of women and they support each other. And I think Sexy Red was on there, but yeah.
So do you think we're doing it to ourselves, or do you think the record company, record producers doing it, is it put us in a position to
Look,
not
it's
tell
like
us no?
Jada said, at one point it was for the culture. Now it's for the bags. Like the game was the game. You did what you had to do. So it changed. When the money came into it, everything changed. When the hip hop first started, it was for the love of the music. It was for the love of the beats. It was for the love of the graffiti, the love of the clothes, for the culture. But then when the white man saw that he could make a lot of money and this wasn't just a fluke, that it was going to be around, who would have thought it would be around for 50 years and become a whole genre of music? So
Right.
Music has always been a vehicle and a conduit.
Yes.
They did the same thing with Motown. They did the same thing with the topic that we're going to speak about tonight with the
Yes.
jazz musicians, Billie Holiday, and some of the other people. So essentially, what you're talking about,
Has
every
happened
time
over and over again.
there's propaganda. But I
Yeah.
mean, if we can teach the people to devalue themselves, then essentially we've conquered them. We don't have to fire one shot. If we can teach you to devalue yourself, it's done data. And I meant to say this: the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he didn't exist.
He never
So,
exists.
so if you're not identifying with like what the interests of some of these record labels, which are banks, they're nothing more than banks are. That's what we're dealing with.
What you want to say, Q?
Yeah, real quick, Toya, do you know who the person that asked Toya was? Do you know the person?
I do.
Okay, so is this person in y'all age group?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, he's our age.
Okay. Any rap, Sexy Red is my age. We are the same age.
Yeah.
Sexy Red is not for the 4 people here and the 2 people who are on our sports show.
Well, we know that. But the question was
So
about.
she remind you more of a Little
question
Kim
was
type
about
of sexual. I
hip
seen a
hop.
video. Huh?
I mean, do you like her, Q, since she's your age?
I do, and people on campus do. I'm on a college campus. When people play music and people want to turn on the music, they put on Sexy Red. I have a playlist because I'm on the aux when it comes to when these music come on, when these get theirs come on sometimes. Sexy Red is on the playlist because the people, both guys and girls, like her music.
Hey, don't get me wrong. If I was in a different setting where the real music playing, I listen to a couple of them. I'm coming with a couple of her songs. It's ratchet.
So all I'm saying
ratchet,
is,
but a lot of songs we listen to is
As soon as
good
the
ratchet.
Cardi B song come on, I turn it right off.
So all I'm saying,
as soon as the Meg Thee Stallion song comes,
you cut it right off.
I can't say that because I do like Cardi B's wordplay. I do like Meg Thee Stallion wordplay sometimes, but at the same time, some of it goes into a different range. Even when, like, it was shocking to hear Lil Kim speaking in the fashion in which she did. But in terms of like when you process aspects of what was done, part of those raps, and that's what Jaguar Wright said. A lot of these raps are written by men.
Yes.
And so if these men are writing these raps, then what's the thought process behind aspects of that? And how do they view them?
Well,
And, I'm going to tell you something.
So it's about that dollar.
I'm going to tell you something. Something broke me down, man. Like it assaulted my sisters maybe about 35, 40 years ago. About 30 years ago, right? I was about 18, 19. And this is when the chronic had really hit. And man, I was sitting there and this girl that my man dated, man, my man had the server in Vegas. He was blasting it. We lived next to the Hispanic brothers and sisters, so we could play our music as loud as we wanted, right? And he was blasting the song "Bees Ain't Nothing But Hoes and Tricks," and she was dancing like hell. And I was like, "Yo, sis,
Now,
that ain't
don't get me
offend you?"
wrong. We have songs that are pretty much out there, but they
Ratchet.
were never played on the radio. You ain't hearing
Right,
Akinelli on the radio. And then
right.
the wordplay too is
Well, you
different. Like
did
you
hear
said with
Alcanated on the
Little
radio.
Kim.
They started playing it on 102 Dance.
No, well, not look.
I'm telling
Not
you,
the
I
full
used to be in
version
the,
of
I
the
used to
song.
be in the
Now,
fish
there's a
joint.
lot of songs that we have. If you listen to the unclean version, you like, dang, that's a little, But I'm not saying that I have. So here's my thing. I have two little impressive little girls, and I see certain friends of theirs. Their parents are younger than me, and so they're TikToking and dancing to a Sexy Red or a Cardi B or something. No, it's my job to keep these two little things off the pole and to keep them as young as possible for as long as possible, to not make their childhood disappear because they're listening to damaging music that makes them older than what they are. One already looks older than what she is. She's 12 and she looked like she about 16. So no, my job is to keep them. And so this is why I don't listen to it or I don't play it. I definitely don't play it in the car. But you see, I got 11-year-old Wu-Tang head, and now she in the Redman, and Redman putting out new stuff, and she feeling it like it's fire. So that's just dope to me.
What do you think about that playmaker? Get in, so get playmaker again. Do we good?
I definitely see the point. I think Q made a very good point about the music being generational.
Yeah.
Generational, because I do think when my mom listened to some of my music, she didn't have any appreciation for it because her generation music was different. And I will say, even male and female, I don't have appreciation for some of the stuff that is out now compared to when things were years ago. And I just say, for me personally, I put that Sexy Red in that category of just not for me. But I don't think she represents all female rappers, and she is the queen of female rappers. I think she just represents a certain set. And then the lady I was talking about was Young M.A. I think she can hold
Young M.A.
against any rapper that's out today. I don't know if she writes her own stuff or not. I don't know all that, but that just goes to say that I do think that there are some female artists that I do like, and there's some female artists that I just don't.
Well, now I may not buy Sexy Red music, but if we was in the clubs and her music come on and we vibe it, then that's different.
First
I
of
probably
all,
bob my
sir,
head.
what club?
Well, I'm
this
just saying, there's a
age
lot
is
of
you in
clubs.
that
It's
they
a lot of
playing Sexy Red.
ma'am, it's a lot of clubs different type of clubs out there that may play her type of music.
Not old people club, sir.
It depends on what club you at now. I ain't say dance club. It makes a lot of clubs that may play her music. And the entertainment, maybe entertainment. But let's wrap it up, Toy.
I agree with Q. I agree with you that it is, that it's for your age. Like I said, we are hip hop snobs. That's why I said he is of a certain age, the person that asked the question. We are hip hop snobs because it's hard for us. And it's like G said, our parents, well, my mom loves hip hop, so that's different. But a lot of parents didn't like it when it first started and didn't agree with it. And so it's a generational thing. We're not going to like the stuff that our kids listen to, but some of the things that y'all listen to, we do like. Like I said, I like raps. I like Kendrick. I like D1. I like him. But for the hip hop guru, I hope we were able to answer your questions and not going back and forth. If anybody has another
clubs, you may want to go listen to her music. Some old.
All this was old people yelling at crowds. That's all this was for the past 10 minutes.
If anybody has an Ask Toya, please send me at AskToya, TOIA74 @gmail.com, or Ask Toya on Facebook, TOIA, or Toya L on TikTok, TOIAEL. Thank you.
Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. So tonight we're gonna jump on the Harlem Renaissance. The Harlem Renaissance was an intelligent cultural revival of the African American music, dance, art, fashion, literature, theater, politics, and scholarship centered in Harlem, Manhattan, in New York City that spanned the 1920s and 1930s. At the time, it was known as the New Negro Movement. That was named after the New Negro, a 1925 anthropologist edited by Alan Locke. The Harlem Renaissance at a sense of it came to a sense of acceptance for the African American writers as Langston Hughes and other several African American writers and poets, such as well-known Zora Nelson Hurst, Claude McKay, to lesser known as Ann Spencer. Innovative and liveliness was important characteristic of the performers in the beginning of the jazz performed during this time. Such names as, if you know, for our jazz, Ubi Blake, Noble Sicily, Jelly Roll Martin, Lucky Roberts, John P. Johnson, Willie the Lion Smith, Alan Reffa, Fats Walker, Arthur Waters, and others. And band leaders such as your Duke Ellingtons, Louis Armstrongs, Fletcher Henderson's gained popularity during this time of the Harlem Renaissance. Also during this time, it formed a lot of different spiritual and different practices that was developed during the African American community during this time. Some example religions that a lot of African Americans followed was the Islamic faith that came to that time. The Moorish and Science Temples of America was established in 1913. Judaism was practiced heavy during this time. Unorthodox conservative reform, but it was the Black Hebrew Israelites are also founded during this time. I think that's important because before that, during slavery, we were forced to take on one religion or the slave master. So this was the Harlem Renaissance gave opportunity to spread our wings. So let's get into some questions. Tori, we start with you. Do you believe this period was one of the first time Black artists had the opportunity to express themselves through their craft?
So I just want to say the Harlem Renaissance is my favorite time. Being a child of, woke parents, we have a lot of pieces of art and, of course, books that we grew up with in the library. Zora Neale Hurston, of course, is one of my favorite writers. That's why my child's name is Zora, and Zora means dawn, which, is my first name. But so the Harlem Renaissance was considered the golden age for African American artists, writers, and musicians. So it gave artists pride and control over how the Black experience was, and it represented American culture and set the stage for the civil rights movement.
Good stuff. Q, come with you with this. So what impact do you think the Harlem Renaissance had over Black society during this period?
Gave people a voice and a way to express themselves. Similar to how our As Toya was, except now we, or in this case, y'all, are people looking down on what's being made now. I'm pretty sure back then other people were looking down on what was being made back then. And the Harlem Renaissance gave that voice to the people to the artists who didn't have a voice or didn't have a place to showcase their vision, their voice, their music, things of that nature.
Good stuff. Good stuff. G, do you think that Black began to become more conscious or woke during this period?
Yes, I definitely believe that. I think during this time, we had a little bit of money and power. And once you have a little bit of money and power, you can now start to expand and think about things. We had the Chitlin Circuit, which was our artists, and they were providing, and we were the ones that were funding our artists. We were the one buying the art. We were the one that was moving to the cities and buying clubs and having clubs for our people. So it was all of our are doing, building up ourselves and our economy, which led to, okay, now that we have a little power, what are we really doing? And I think that's what you kind of see with the introduction to different religions and all that other kind of stuff, because now we had the ability to do something other than what was dictated to us.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Ron, I'm coming with you with this one. How do you believe that the Harlem Renaissance periods had a mental had a mental effect of the Black community during that time and this time, whatever, you know?
Renaissance speaks to renewal. So when you identify like a renewal or an awakening, it was an awakening of on various different levels, you know, in artistry, like G said, art, writing. One of my favorite people is Paul Laurence Dunbar. They spoke a lot about his work in that during that time, and jazz music. All those art forms really grew and sprung up throughout that time, and they really kind of facilitated. Um, they made New York here in America a mecca. And so when people started identifying and wanting to see and fell in love with the city, especially those people who were a part of the Great Southern Migration to the North, they came seeking opportunities and jobs. They came seeking an opportunity in a place where they can come celebrate themselves, celebrate our culture, and be at peace and not necessarily feel as threatened in the South as they did. And, you know, considering the fact that my wife is a part of that, wife's family is a part of that Southern migration, that's a deeper, larger thing. Both her mother and father left the South. Father left Mississippi. Um, grandmother left Alabama, and they came to New York seeking a better opportunity. Well, they came after the Harlem Renaissance, but when you think about the Renaissance, that Renaissance made New York a place of opportunity for people. Bigger cities became a place of opportunity for Blacks. So the beautiful thing about the mentality is that it was an openness, and people felt like they could make it, and it was opportunity. And a lot of times here in America, that opportunity wasn't always present.
Good stuff. We got a little time, so I'm gonna go up and skip a little bit. I'm gonna go with you as I would ask you a question, Tori. So go ahead. You go ahead. Go ahead.
I know
You can jump in, and I'm gonna ask you a question.
I was agreeing with what Ron said, but it also Harlem at that time was a beautiful mecca. It still is. I mean, but just when you think about, and I don't know if any of you have ever been to Harlem, but you know, growing up right across the water, that was a place my mother always took us. The girls, Zoe and Zora's great grandmother, she was in New York during the Harlem Renaissance, and she always told the story of how she's from Statesville, North Carolina, preacher's kid, and all of them were Livingstone graduates. But the summer before she was supposed to go into Livingstone, she went to New York to visit her sister. And she says, then she came back 4 years later with 4 kids. But she always talked about, and she lived till she was 104 years old, and just sitting and speaking to her about that time and how much she enjoyed. She talked about the clothes and how everybody dressed fancy. It didn't matter if you were just going to work, you always dressed a certain way. If you were just if you were out for the evening, you put on your night's best, and you know, you have a nickel or two in your pocket, like a nickel, really. But she always talks about the time of how lively it was. It was some of the best times in her life, where she also met the love of her life and ended up, you know, creating a family and bringing them back south. But still, it's just that time period and the history of it all. Like if you ever go to Harlem and you go to the Schomburg Museum and you see all of that life that was created in Harlem at that time, just being on 125th, is still, that history is still there. And I just think it's a beautiful thing.
So Quinn, I'm gonna come with you, and Gary, you can pick it back on it. How do you, we look at the Harlem Renaissance, and Quinn, you kind of alluded to it early, how then it gave a platform for, you know, the new creativity of, you know, music and art and how we dress and how they go about. How do you think that links to today, with the culture, with when it from the Harlem Renaissance to connect it to the hip hop culture, where the way we dressed and the way I styled or way I swag. Do you think there's a connection from the Harlem Renaissance to the swag that developed in the hip hop culture today? Let's go with
I,
you, Quentin, and then Gary can back it up, huh?
I would again refer to our ass Toya. We just had a 20-minute conversation about y'all generation, not me. I can care less what someone else's wears. Y'all generation, getting on people in my generation about how they wear and how they present themselves. When they get in, I'm pretty sure someone can fact check me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure only people who can fact check me about that are dead. Back then, I'm pretty sure.
But it connects. It does connect
Right.
because you have
Wait,
to think about hip hop as a general, the music, the jazz that is in the sampling. Our culture is our culture. We are creators from from slavery. We had to create. So it all connects. It all connects. That vibe still connects. The way we do poetry now. Hip hop itself is poetry.
Yes.
You think that, you know, uh the similes and the metaphors that are used are from that time. So
what's your thoughts on that, playmaker? I didn't mean to cut you off, T. I'm sorry.
okay.
What's your thoughts on that, playmaker?
I think it's very interesting. Excuse me. I do think that when you look at hip hop as it is right now, where it's not necessarily just being funded by certain companies, but you can have a lot of music from SoundCloud or any of these other places. So it's not being filtered as much as it once were, and so everybody has the ability to put out whatever they feel their expression they're able to do. And I think in that time period, you still had the same kind of thing because there was no cookie cutter recipe for everything. It was all your expression, your creativity. Hey, here's your idea, put it out there. If people like it, great. If not, then go back to the lab and redo it. So I think the freedom of expression back then is kind of what I believe we are now. I think when we first experienced hip hop in back in when we 50 years ago, I think it was a little bit of a lot of creativity, but still everybody wanted to kind of be in that setting that they knew would sell, that cookie cutter hip hop that would sell. And I think over time it has kind of exploded to different things. And now I think right now is anybody can create anything and see if it goes anywhere. So
Okay, no problem. So, and we're gonna keep pushing. So, while the Renaissance period was going on in the North, in the South, we have our black culture with the chitlin circuit. The chitlin circuit grew out of time when black people were not allowed to perform at white establishments. From the 1930s to the 1960s, the chitlin circuit held its heyday. The network consists of black-owned nightclubs, dance halls, juke joints, and theaters in the South. On the East Coast and parts of the Midwest, African American musicians and other performers flourished at these welcoming venues in the era of Jim Crow. Club owners could buy soul food at these venues, but the big payoff was seeing top-notch black entertainers such as Ray Charles, BB King, Bobby Blue Bland, Sam Cooks, like Ike and Tina Turner, Otis Redding, helped give birth to the modern day black music. It was African Americans making something beautiful out of something ugly, and it was one of the few places that black culture could be celebrated during that Jim Crow era. Said music historian Princeton Letterback, the author of the Chitlin Circuit and the Road to Rock and Roll. Ron, I'm gonna come with you with this one. all the venues during that time was black owned, black owned. So what effect, if any, did that have on the community, both mentally and economically?
Um, I mean, mentally, ownership was well. If you really reflect on the turn of the century, ownership was essential for us to really have access to certain venues because we could not intermingle with Caucasians or the vast majority of society. So we had to create our own spaces. And creating our own spaces, yeah, we did have the chilling circuit. We did own those facilities. Make no mistake, there was always a hand or control of other people that were a part of running those businesses and those acts through those facilities. I had a conversation with the owner for Sife Seafood, and we talked about going down to Beaufort, and he would talk about and speak about like having the opportunity to see some great acts like Temptations and things of that nature in that small town of Beaufort. And I said, well, hey, Mr. Hardesty, I say, Charles, why haven't they developed this land? Myrtle Beach has all this land. He said the people that live here don't want it to be developed. In all true honesty, there are always powers or hidden hands that have a lot of money that facilitate some of these things that happen on this chilling circuit. So we must understand the impact of having those venues, but then also and the power of it. It was a blessing, but at the same time, true excellence and control of what it is that we have and what we need. We need to revisit that space. We need to have more ownership of the things that we produce, and I'm talking about all art forms. If we had more ownership of those art forms, I think there would be a little bit more consciousness in relationship to what's being put in.
Good stuff. Q, come with you with this. What role do you believe the chicken circuit played in the South during that time?
It gave people their own, is what it sounds like. It's what it sounds like. It gave people their own. It's basically what I got from the reading you said.
Okay.
First, the
Good stuff.
give people their own voice, and now the chicken circuit was give people their own place for what they want to do, what they want to create. That's what it was.
Okay. And if you want to pick it back there, you can tell you, but I'm coming with you with this one. What impact do you believe that the performers from the chicken circuit had on the music industry?
It created rock and roll for one.
Yeah.
You got blues, you got jazz, you got soul, R&B, but rock and roll was created from the chilling circuit, and it wasn't created by white folks. And if you know the story of Elvis and how he grew up in the ghettos, he was surrounded by a lot of stars of color, and that's how he stole the music. But like you said, your Sam Cooks, your Otis Reddings, Billie Holiday, it gave us a music that is still exists to this day.
Okay. Good. And it's a round table. I'm gonna start with Nesbitt with it. I asked the question earlier. Maybe I'm gonna take and get back around and get a kind of the answer I was looking for. So I'm gonna come with you with this one, Nesbitt. Then everybody can round table it around. Does society still feel the effects of the Harlem Renaissance period and the Chitlin circuit? I asked the question earlier, how did they affect our culture today? So it's kind of a simpler question. But do you think what happened during those time periods of the Chitlin circuit and happened those time periods of the Harlem Renaissance, what effect do they have on our society today?
I think it, in some ways, is like a blueprint of where we're trying to go. You hear a lot of people saying that we need to own our own businesses, support Black businesses. That's kind of been a theme over the last couple of years. And during that time frame, you saw Black people supporting other Black people in their going through the Chitlin circuit, or in the in Harlem, buying the art and all of those things. So I think it kind of shows us that we can be successful, and that we can do those things by supporting one another and establishing our own businesses.
Okay, Ron, the same question to you. See, what's your thoughts on that? You're on mute, Ron.
Rephrase the question again. I'm sorry.
So does it? So what? So does society still feel the effect of the Harlem Renaissance and the Chitlin Circuit?
Um, Most definitely. A lot of hostings that you see some of these influencers do are a byproduct of the chilling circuit. Because if you identify, like most people, if they had a, if they had it was a little different back then though. But if they had an act that came to a club and the club or the after hours joint shut down, where would they go to? Like a liquor house or another
Mm-hmm.
club that stayed open. And then people would congregate and sit down and talk and drink and continue whatever it is that they were doing. But I wanna go to the artistic aspect of it. One of the things that really made me fall in love with hip hop and was so dope to me was that, and the group that did it for me was Tribe Called Quest and the Native Tongues.
Mm.
A lot of the influence that came out of that, the Native Tongues and the mixing with jazz, Stetsasonic, when they did jazz.
Jungle
So
Brothers.
yeah, so when you start thinking about those beats and the cycling of that music, they reached back 40, maybe 50 years and brought that music forward, which has influenced aspects of things. You skip forward another 20 years, you have, well, another 20 years to 2000s, and you have one of the best, like the 90s and the 2000s, neo soul music was banging. You get the Jill Scotts, you get oh my God, I
Erica
can't even think,
Badu.
the Erica
D'Angelo.
Badu's. Man, Erica Badu blew the doors off of Winston-Salem State when she came down there and performed. And so all of those are influences that we see from the essence of those times of the turn of the century and the Harlem Renaissance, and that art permeates aspects of what it was to be African American, what it was to uniquely identify with being Black. It's a powerful thing, and it's steeped in a level of struggle, but at the same time, to me, the struggle is beautiful because you're gonna always find, I hate to say it, joy and a blessing in the midst of stuff like that. So to me, man, I think it's the ties that bind us, the turn of the century to now. And I want to shout this out to EQ. I want to say this: we're not talking down on your music. It's just different to us. And if you've been at the, that'll be like if you was at the birthing of something, like you was at the birthing of your sister, and we come in on the back end and we trying to tell you something about your sister or something that you deeply love. What do we look like telling you something about what you deeply love? That to me is a corruption of the thought process, because I can't tell you how your experience is. I can only speak to what my experience is, but what I'm seeing. So that's not a reflection about how we feel about young people or how we feel about the music. It's a reflection of what we feel like people have deviated from the mission. And that's what I feel like oftentimes happens. People deviate from the mission. Like I'm deviating a little bit from the mission right now. What's up?
So I'm gonna sum a little bit with the Harlem. So when I look at this period in time with the Harlem Renaissance and the Chitlin Circuit, that was one of the first times where blacks or African Americans could really spread their wings and be total creative. That was the first time America really saw the creativity of African Americans, not just in, and I'm talking about in music, and I'm talking about in fashion, I'm talking about in art. I mean, almost every musical genre was spurred from the Harlem Renaissance and the Chitlin Circuit. You can almost date every genre of music that came out of that, from rock and roll to jazz to hip hop to classical to whatever, and other genres spurn from this period. So I think, doing, although there was still hard times for African Americans, this was a very pivotal time in our culture, because still today, our culture has penetrated society in the way we talk and the way we dress, and on movie theaters, on TVs, everywhere you see it, everything have a swagger type like mentality. Or a jazz mentality of music, and the Harlem Renaissance, and the Chili Circus. So guys, I mean, I just wanted to put a button on that, but every now and then we gonna since since some of our school districts don't want to teach our history, we use our platform to sometimes to teach a little history of what's going on. So that was the topic of the day. So hey guys, let's start winding it down a little bit. Toya, your last words.
This is a history that needs to be taught. This is a history that needs to be kept alive. Um, and that is not taught in school, in certain schools. Having an artist child, and right now she's all into art history, and she's identifying the Archibalds and the creators of art during that time, but she's also connecting them to our artists today, like our Bisa Butlers, our Adam Penns, and David Hammonds, these amazing Black artists that our kids need to know about, that are doing some of the dopest artwork that is been created ever. And it's because of out of the Harlem Renaissance and that art period that these new young Black artists are doing this. So this is something I think that we need to keep up, and a history that we need to keep alive.
Good stuff. Q, last words.
I see we have a lot of extra time in hand, so give me a second. I gotta do this work, because has anyone seen that video of the woman who went on a date and ate 48 lobsters, 48 oysters?
No.
I saw it today.
Luckily, you gave me plenty of time to talk about this.
So you ain't got the whole time, but you got some time, sir.
I got time today. There's a video of a woman who was asked on a date for some drinks. The drinks is important. On the date, also, this is in Atlanta. So Atlanta is getting up there with Florida for amount of stupid people from there. On this date, she ordered 48 oysters, 2 crab cakes, potato wedges, and 4 lemon drops. And then the guy only ordered 1 drink. On this date, which she recorded and put on TikTok, you see she is there slurping down, like loudly slurping, each oyster. Mind you, 48 of them. The guy who asked her for a drink left her with the bill. 100 and it was a bill. The bill was $150. Now she gave the place a generous tip. But I say this: if I invite you out to drinks and I have to sit down and watch you slurp down 48 individual oyster shells, I'm smacking you with a lobster.
I knew it was gonna be something just crazy.
You know, it's gonna break it.
I was just waiting for it.
Good stuff, sir. Good stuff.
You.
Good stuff, sir. Good stuff. Good stuff. Playmaker. Last words, man.
Were you done, Q?
Yeah, my voice can't take anymore.
Huh?
His voice can't take no more.
He a little sick, so yeah.
Well, I guess the interesting thing about that, because I'll deviate from what I was going to do, but I think that the fact that the guy left, nobody's talking about that in the video. Not that the guy should have paid, not that the guy should have, but just the fact that he left the woman without saying goodbye. I think that just represents how dating is going nowadays. And I'll just leave that.
You would expect it with a lobster too, huh?
No, I would be like, hey, you were hungry, or whatever. But I don't know if you just walk. I just don't believe in just walking out on people like that. I understand what she did was wrong, whatever, but just walking out. She may have paid.
You would have paid for the dinner too, right?
No. That's not what we agreed upon. That's not.
I invited
He
you for
said
drinks.
we agreed on drinks.
yeah. Carbonated, Coke products. We talk about Coke products. We know what we're talking about. But all right, Playman, your last words, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I'll share something I learned from my homecoming, and this will just go out to the people who are in the midlife range. Uh, at best, we have 20 to 25 summers left.
Speak for
Make sure
yourself,
you
sir.
make the best of those.
That
I'm
part.
like Abraham. I'm going to 100. Speak for
Don't
yourself. So I got 50.
that's on me. Jesus.
Yeah.
He talking about.
Speak for
He said
yourself, sir.
our age group.
Nah, speak for yourself, sir. I'm trying to be like Abraham. We 100 some change. RJ, last words, sir.
You on mute?
Social media is killing reality.
Hmm.
Accurate.
These false assessments or these beliefs that men are supposed to do these extravagant things for ladies who are not their significant others is way past gone. And I'm so thankful that I'm not dating at this time in my life because I would be out of my mind. Man, boy, what are you talking about? So, guys, let's get realistic. Let's deal with people from a perspective of how we would want our brothers or our sisters dealt with. And let's treat people in a way that's consistent with who we are. Kings and queens. Done data.
Okay. Miss Toya.
I just want to let you guys know that next week we are doing an all ladies edition of Ask Toya. So listen out. The questions are from dating to social media to relationship stuff. So y'all just join us.
I mean, I
It's
get
the
the day
all
off.
ladies edition, the wives of OTTP of over the top.
No, sir. No, sir. We got it scheduled so it won't be no days off. It's
No,
modern day scheduling, sir. We
no, you don't
got
get a
it. We
day
got it
off.
scheduled. We got it scheduled, sir. That we don't. No, sir. No, you don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. we got it scheduled. You'll be
Y'all check
fine,
it out.
sir.
Ask Toya, the ladies of Over the Top Ask Toya edition. And we do have uh, a young person, my older daughter, joining us to give us the young people's perspective like Q does.
Good stuff. Hey guys, my last thoughts. Parents, allow your children to be creative. I know, and I think it's probably different growing up now. I know we was growing up, we told. If I told my parents I wanted to be, a rapper, or I want to do something artsy, or I wanted to be a painter or artist, nah, you need to focus on the grades. They ain't gonna make you no money, and don't enjoy. Allow your children to be as creative, go down different pathways. That to be if they into sports, get them into golf, get them into lacrosse, get them into football, get if they into sciences, get them into astronomy, get them into camps, get into music, nurture that because I think if we nurture our children creativity along with some discipline, you don't know where that may lead down the future. So don't look at it strange. Don't try to keep them in a box. Nurture your children as far as their creative ability, and see how well that seed will blossom to young great peers in society. Hey guys, great show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Also, check us out. We definitely still on YouTube. Also check us out on our Facebook page. We also on our private page. And guys, we do have some good news coming. We are expanding and growing, and we owe it all to you. So we definitely thank you for supporting the Over the Top podcast. And like always, guys, may your next move be the game changer. Peace.